If you're a new gardener or even an experienced gardener that has had some struggles, or maybe you're just looking for some different thoughts and ideas about gardening, this is for you. Here's a very basic blueprint about how to get started gardening. Now, it can be really overwhelming figuring out how to get started with a garden. You see all these pictures of these beautiful, huge gardens, you read all this stuff, and it's a lot. But it doesn't really need to be that complicated. There are a few basics that you'll need to get started and a few tips that'll help you along. So first, let's start off with saying the first thing you need to do is figure out your light situation. Start with the light. Plants need full sunlight to grow and to produce. So let's have a little bit of a caveat there. You can see these raised beds here are in full sunlight. They are not shaded out by any close trees or buildings, and they will get full sunlight from morning till night during the summertime. Generally, a south or east facing spot is going to be the best, but you don't need to overthink this. You just need to go out in your garden, into your yard where you're thinking about putting your garden or beds, and figure out where that light falls and for how long during the day it falls. All you're looking for is 6 to 8 hours of sun. Try to get it more towards the 8 than the 6, and you'll be in good shape. What happens if you don't is the plants will grow, or at least live, but they'll straggle and struggle, and you'll often not even get a harvest from them because they just won't have enough light energy to actually produce fruit. So light is first. And you can see I keep focusing on the raised beds over here. I do actually have a large garden area, and different years I've done different things. Depends on our life and the times and what's going on and what I think I'm going to have for time and use. The beds are actually a pretty new addition, but the thing is, and this is so very true, Joel Salatin said this in a recent podcast, do small well. Focus on some well-spaced but compactly planted plants in a few raised beds like this, and you will be a much happier gardener, especially as a beginner. Me as a seasoned gardener who's been literally gardening for decades, I can tell you that I very easily get overwhelmed and things go to pot when I am biting off more than I can chew in a given year. So raised beds, you'd be amazed how much you can get in here. These are 4x8 beds, and you could really realistically feed a household and probably have some to preserve as well. As far as what to plant, start with what you like. There's no sense growing things that you're not even going to eat, you don't know how to use, and no one in your house likes. I think we feel the pressure because other gardeners and neighbors are growing things that we should grow all those things too. Well, you should only grow those things if you like them, know how to use them, and are going to eat them. And then, that's not to say that you can't grow in the future and maybe learn how to use something different. But in the meantime, just start with what you know and what you like and branch into that later. Soil fertility. Keep it basic with soil fertility. I think this might be one of the most overwhelming things about beginning a new garden is that you're going to read, you have to get your soil tested, you have to amend it with this, that, and the other thing. If you've got pretty good, basically brown soil that is soil and isn't like a heavy clay or a very sandy soil, you're probably good to go, especially for the first couple years, because those first years, nothing's been planted there, nothing's been taking all of the minerals and nutrients out of the ground. So keep it simple with soil fertility. All you need is, honestly, a lot of places, like just some good virgin soil is going to grow a lot for you. You can see what I've got here is what's considered a cold manure. That's rabbit manure because I keep rabbits. I have it, so I use it. And I've never honestly tested my soil, and I've grown freezers and freezers and freezers full of food. So yes, it can be done. It doesn't need to be that complicated. Our ancestors didn't complicate it that much. You don't need to complicate it that much. Most people probably do not have a home manure source, which is perfectly fine. Some good solid compost will do you as well, or maybe even better. And if you're not familiar with my terms of cold manure or aged manure, skip it. Don't even worry about learning it right now. We're trying to keep it simple, get a start. Just get some compost, throw it over there, mix it in as you plant, till it in if you're going to till, and you will be well on your way to growing good food. So other than that, the next one is to keep your soil covered. So this is a little trickier. If you listen to Joel Salatin's podcast where he talks about this, and originally it was something John Moody said, he says within 3 weeks, have your boxes planted in such a way that the leaves kind of come together and they shade out the soil. So that doesn't mean that you couldn't see soil. It means that sunlight isn't directly falling on the soil. So the way to do that is with good plant spacing, but you have to keep in mind the mature size of the plants. When you put these transplants in, they're small like a single stem flower. But as they grow, you know, they need the room for each mature plant size. So follow what your plants are asking for, what is recommended for those plants. And then anything left, mulch it. You can see I have shavings mixed in here in my mulch, in my composted rabbit manure that's over the top. That's covering up my soil, which is doing a few things. It's shading out and denying sunlight to weeds and weed seeds that might sprout. Not that you won't have any, but it's going to greatly reduce them. And it's also feeding the soil while maintaining soil moisture. So that is really the basics. If you start small, start well, do that well, get a handle on that first, and then go ahead and grow the weird or unique things or branch into something in future years. But in your early years, or when you're just trying to get your feet under you, don't worry about trying to take on the whole garden world. But the key to it really is exactly that. Get in, get started, get growing. Don't try and bite off everything yourself. Go ahead and go down to the garden store. Don't try and start your seeds in the first year when you don't know what you're doing. Buy up some good transplants, buy some good seeds, get them in the ground and get that experience. You might have some failures, you might have some flops. Every single one of us has. I can freely say that I have had my share of failures and flops, and you just keep going, and sometimes some things do well while others don't, but eventually you will get it all there. And if you follow this quick little small simplified blueprint for gardening, you will too.